Thanks for joining us for Season 8 of the Hospitality Hangout, a hospitality-focused podcast where the founders of Branded Strategic share their insights and bring technology and innovation leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the Finance Guy. I'd like to introduce my partner, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, also known as the Restaurant Guy.
And thanks for that kind introduction, Jimmy. And to all those listening, feel free to call me Shatsy. And together, we're the personalities behind Branded Strategic Hospitality. We work at the intersection of hospitality, technology, innovation, and capital. And Jimmy, I am exhausted. It has been a whirlwind of travel. I mean, International Food Manufacturers Association, MERTEC, and now Vegas. I mean, we'll be doing so many podcasts in Vegas at RFDC. It is just great to be back in Vegas and finishing up a year of incredible travel here in Vegas. It's the way to do it. And we got a great guest today, and we're going to have a really good time, Jimmy. I'm excited.
I
missed you, by the way. In Scottsdale, everyone was asking, "Where's Jimmy?" At the International Food Manufacturers Association with our friends from Nestle and Hershey and Pepsi. I mean, everybody was there, and everyone's, "Where's Jimmy?"
I heard I missed Perry had a little rolling cigar action going on.
And rolling cigars. He had his friend there rolling cigars, and he is coming to New York in January, and he is bringing us a whole bunch of cigars, and we're going to have a blast with Perry.
All right. Well, I'm enjoying myself here at RFDC. You know what I call this show, Shatsy? You know I love this show? It's the money show. It's the money show. It's the money show. All right. Enough about that. We've got a great guest. We're very excited for today's episode. Today we have our friend and the legendary Carin Stutz. Carin has held court at Wendy's, Applebee's, Brinker, Cosi, Red Robin, and before moving and settling into her current position as president and CEO of Native Foods.
By the way, Wendy's? We forget Wendy's?
I led with Wendy's.
Oh, you led with Wendy's? I
started with Wendy's.
Oh, I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to that part.
What?
I toned off. What? Yeah, exactly. I toned out.
Yes, that is quite a resume. But before we get started with Carin, we're going to jump into our new segment, Trivia Tuesday. We release our podcast every Tuesday. We now introduced a new segment called Trivia Tuesday. All you Taco Tuesday people, stop sending us hate mail, okay? We're not Taco Tuesday. We're Trivia Tuesday. Each week, we'll share a fun trivia question about our guests. And here's the catch. You'll have to tune in to the end of the episode to find the answers. So true or false, here we go. True or false, Carin convinced George Clooney to work a shift at Wendy's.
Whoa.
True or false, Carin convinced George Clooney to work a shift at Wendy's.
I mean, this is going to be, I can't wait. I cannot wait to hear the story behind this. This is going to be a big one. I mean, George Clooney. I mean, really. I mean, I think Jimmy.
Yes,
that's one good. What's got one good-looking guy.
Yeah. By the way, in the category of way too much information, way TMI, George Clooney's on my list. My wife's list of 5. My wife gets a list of 5. George Clooney's on the list.
Yeah, I can see. I bet you had Brad Pitt on that list too.
Yep.
I could probably name the list.
And
you know who's not on the list?
I know who's not on the list.
Jimmy's not on the list. That's who's not on the list.
And I'm going to bail on that topic before I get myself deeper in trouble. Okay, Carin, we're going to bring it back to you, and I know you're now going, who the hell voted with these guys?
Yeah.
We'll let you take the lead. Please give us a little background about yourself and, of course, your elevator pitch on Native Foods.
Well, thank you, guys. It's already going to be a lot of fun. I can tell just by the introduction. And first of all, you had me at George Clooney, obviously, and I think he's on everyone's list. So no big surprise there.
That's true.
I could see Brad Pitt. Mine would be Dave Grohl. I mean, the Foo Fighters. My God. Does it get any better than that?
Have you spoken to my wife? Are you reading my wife's list?
Yeah, I think there must be one list going around out there, Jimmy.
I don't know. But, I think, if I could go to a concert every night of my life, I would do that. But, hey, we're in the food business, so we're working a lot of nights, and that's okay, too. But let me tell you a little bit about Native Foods. And just again, thanks for having me. You guys bring the energy, you bring the entertainment, and that's what our industry is all about. And we got to remember that and continue to think about that every day we walk into our restaurants. But you mentioned all the restaurants that I worked at, which basically just kind of shares my age. Next year will be my fifth decade finishing in the business. So I've been doing it for a long time. And
that's like 30 years, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I guess so.
She started very early. She started as a taster when she was in kindergarten. You started very early. Taste the nuggets. Try these nuggets.
The sad thing is I remember like all of those products rolling out, right? I mean, high school, I was working at McDonald's. We were on Lake Street in Aurora, Illinois, one of the 10 restaurants testing breakfast, trying to explain to people what an Egg McMuffin was, right? We all know that now, but that's how long I've been around. And you would never do anything else. This industry is so much fun. I think if you look at my career, I followed the growth. You started with quick service restaurants, moved into casual dining restaurants, and now fast casual restaurants. And you could also say now where I am today with Native Foods, plant-based. That's where the growth is. And I think it's going to be fun to watch it, continue to take off. Native Foods is this little wonderful brand. We call ourselves the OG of plant-based restaurants because we were around in 1994, long before anybody was thinking about plant-based restaurants. And our food's just fantastic. I hope you guys get a chance to try it when you come to one of our markets. We're in 12 restaurants in 3 states, Colorado, California, and Illinois in the Chicago market where I'm talking to you today. And, we kind of got a different lane. You see a lot of restaurants right now starting to emerge in the plant-based space. And I would say there's 6 or 7 of them that are all trying to be the vegan Shake Shack right now. Burgers, fries, and shakes. We're a little different. We're really leaning into vegan comfort food, delicious, nostalgic menu items with a twist. And we just hired the chef. His name is Chris Berkey out of St. Louis. The guy's a rock star, confident. I just talked about music. He's a punk rock band player and all that. Man, can he cook. And he's just bringing a lot more innovation to our brand as well. But it's a fun space to be in right now. So much innovation. And I think the best of plant-based is yet to come.
I love it. I love it. And just doing a little menu searching. Yeah, you guys are a lot more than burger. You got bowls. You got a whole slew of other foods and salads and soups and everything. So I can't wait to get out to one of those. But before we take a deeper dive into Native and what makes Carin Stutz tick, before we do that, okay, let's just talk about, you mentioned a little earlier, we know your illustrious career that Jimmy went over. You've worked at every single restaurant group in the entire world. But you started at a little company called McDonald's as a cashier.
What?
Mick who? And before you get into it, so I want to know how you got to McDonald's as a cashier. What were you doing? How old were you? And when did you come up with the idea for McNuggets? Because I heard that was your idea, Jimmy. That's breaking news.
That's breaking news.
They originally were going to call it
something
McCarin, but they went with McNuggets, and it was Karen's idea.
Well, I wish that was the case, but actually, McDonald's was my first job. I guess first like official job. We grew up in Aurora, Illinois, and I'm one of those people that's kind of about the American dream. We really grew up with not a lot of means, but just my mom was incredibly driven and my dad was the nicest guy on the planet. So somewhere in between, I think I got that from both of them. Look, I was in high school. We were on the high school cheerleading team. McDonald's came in at a career fair and got us all to sign up. So that's how I started. My twin sister and I, we would drive our tandem bicycle or ride our tandem bicycle. I want to say, how we used to say like 14 miles to the McDonald's. It really wasn't that far. Probably a mile or so. We had our uniforms on. I can remember the construction guys all like, bring me a Big Mac, and all. we just had a lot of fun working there. And, I think when I think about my career, I remember I think they figured out my sister and I, maybe we were a little smarter than the people working there. So end of night, we were closing, we were doing all the inventory, all the paperwork. And I called my dad. I said, hey, Dad, we got to, can you wait a little bit? We're going to be late to pick us up because we were there closing. My dad would actually come and get us. But I said, I've got $20,000 in my hand. $20,000 in cash, right? This is in the 70s, long before everybody was paying with credit card. And I think it was that moment when I look back at my career, because we were first generation college students, where of course your parents want you to be a dentist or a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And between my junior and senior year, I went and interviewed 3 dentists who all hated their jobs. And I'm thinking, I love being in the restaurant business. So that was really one of the reasons I think, my parents were like, yeah, there's some money there. Because back then, my dad had never even made $20,000 in his entire life.
What did you do with that $20,000 in cash, by the way? Did you just
see those earrings?
Dad jump in the car and run?
See the earrings she's wearing? She still has those.
I still want to know where the $20,000 went.
I know. Gosh, I'm so honest. I mean,
yes.
So it went right to the bank, but it was really pretty cool. But I think the other thing that, you would walk in and we were there and I'd see these guys who were area directors. They'd come in and I swear, like they would walk behind us because it was always the girls in the front. They called it the lobby, right? We worked the window and the guys always got to work in the kitchen. So they would come and they'd whip that bag open. They'd punch their, come on girls, let's go faster, faster. I mean, that was to me, the leadership skills that they brought. And I'm thinking, God, I can do better than that. But the thing that was exciting is they all had a brand new company car. And I thought that was something our family never had. So my first aspiration was just to be an area director so I could have a car, a brand new car. Hey, you know what, Schatzi, by the time 1980, I was driving a brand new Buick Century. I had arrived. So
with velour bucket seats.
Well, I don't think it was that fancy. I think you had to roll up and down the windows still, but I thought that was pretty cool. Then I joined this group called Women's Food Service Forum. They did a survey and said, how many of the women back then, there was probably only 100 of us, it was early on in there, would aspire to be a CEO? And the answer was 0. Nobody had thought about it. And then I thought, why not me? Why wouldn't I try to become that? And so
think of the car you would get.
I know.
He's got a nice the Buick Century, the CEO.
You remember back in the days, like, well, again, I'm a lot older than you guys, but, the cars never were rust proof. So I remember even with my family, we'd ride in the floor in the back would be like kind of rusted through because you didn't have the money to go to Z-Bart.
Yeah, I think they had Rust-Oleum back then.
No,
yeah.
I love it. I particularly how you got the bug. You got the hospitality bug at such a young age. My first job, other than babysitting, was a bar back and a busboy at a local joint, and that's where I fell in love with the industry back when I was in high school as well. All right, listen, I want to talk about plant-based foods.
Sure.
In the U.S. alone, plant-based foods is a $7.4 billion market.
That was a B, Jimmy?
That's a B. That's a billion. 7.4 billion.
We're
and
big.
They're going 3 times as fast as overall food sales at grocery retailers nationwide. Okay, big number, big growth, and despite these numbers, there are still, let's be honest, there's still some weary customers, and we've all heard the myth. I'm sorry. I mean, I know why I got to share this story because I resemble this remark, but that the excess soy in some of these plant-based foods can cause man boobs. Yep, I said it. I went there. I said it. Man boobs.
I swear I've never heard that before. I swear I've never heard that. Is this true? Is this really? Are you making that up?
I'm not making it up. You can Google it, Chad. See, Google is GOO. You need 2 O's, GLE. Carin, can you please not only be our myth buster, but also let us know your philosophy on plant-based at Native Foods?
Jimmy, you had to go there.
I had to go.
Definitely. That was dead. He definitely read it on Twitter last week.
Every time we try to get that myth to die, somebody brings it up, and it makes me laugh. And yes, there are people that come in the restaurants every day. They just believe that. Look, first of all, it's definitely a myth. It's not supported by any type of medical literature.
Jimmy, take off your shirt. No one eats plant-based food more than Jimmy.
Yeah, whatsoever. Look, I mean, the scientific part of it, soy contains what they call isoflavones. Again, I'm a food nutrition major, but they fall into this category called phytoestrogens. And so the minute you hear estrogen, right, people are thinking, oh my God, it's going to create these man boobs and create this crazy myth. And and it was funny because it was starting to die down for a long time. And I don't know if you've seen that TV show called Blackish.
Yes.
They had an episode where they brought it up, and then everybody come in was kind of asking that same question, where it kind of perpetuated that myth all over again. So yes, guests were asking about it. But, soy is such a great, I guess, a vegetable, the way you can think of it, right? It's a great protein, 100% complete protein. You kind of describe that if you've got all 9 essential amino acids. And, you think about plant-based, everything that we have in our restaurant just comes out of your garden. How much better can that food be, right? It helps you with lower cholesterol. But even if you didn't want to go with soy, look at the innovation that's coming out, whether it's pea protein, fava bean, vital wheat gluten, so many great opportunities. Quinoa, all those things are complete proteins that really just give you one more thing you can add to your diet. That just could make you a little healthier. So
I love it. I love soy. I love every version of soy. I love it. And let me ask, $7.5 billion market. So Carin, what advice do you have for operators out there, if any, if you want to just keep it all to yourself, you don't have to share. But what advice do you have for operators who don't have any plant-based menu items now, but they're thinking about it, they're listening here, and they're like, we've got to get more man boobs out there. Let's get more soy products. How do I get some plant-based foods on my menu? Because I want to see more man boobs. What do you got out there? What do you think?
Well, we got to put that myth to bed there, Schatzberg.
Okay,
but
forget that. No man boobs. I'm just kidding. There's no man boobs.
Yeah.
I've been eating vegetarian and soy-based things, and I got to tell you, if I take my shirt off, beautiful boobs. No man boobs here. Okay. What advice, if I want to put some plant-based on, where would you start? What's the first couple of items you would do on the menu, seriously, as to kind of introduce your consumer base to plant-based foods?
Look, I think when we're seeing it in the marketplace, just about everybody is typically going to go out and try one of the new burgers, right? I mean, and they've been around for a while, whether it's the Beyond Burger, the Impossible Burger. They're easily found in all the distribution channels, because that's one of the biggest challenges sometimes with plant-based, is that there's such a small number of people using it. How do you get it to the restaurants? And so those two are the easiest. So people start with burgers. Where I see people screw it up is you either go all in or you don't. So you put a burger on the menu, but you put real cheese. You don't get a bun that's vegan as well. And so now you're going to just sit in the middle. I don't get that. If you're going to go in, go all the way in. Just put a product in that's vegan. That's going to be, if your vegan person is your veto vote, they're going to come there and try it. But if you go halfway in, I just think that you're making a big mistake. But that's my opinion. And but people continue to do it. We've seen McDonald's come in with McPlant, McPLT, come and gone, right? Beyond Nuggets at KFC. Panda's got the Beyond Nuggets. I tried that bowl the other day. Everybody's dabbling in it. And I think, first of all, it's just an easy sustainability message, right? Because we all know the difference of plant-based agriculture and animal agriculture, that it's much better for the environment. And that's why people typically choose plant-based. But really 3 reasons that you see that first-time guest coming in. There's always been a catalyst. They've been to the doctor. The cardiologist said, you probably need to think a little differently about how you're eating. So sometimes that first catalyst is health. Secondly, the environment. This next generation is being raised on being much better stewards of the planet than we ever were. And then lastly, obviously, your animal compassion people that just love animals and just can't understand how someone could actually, kill an animal and eat them. So it's really those 3 big topics that bring people in. But, I just think as we try to figure out, long term, how we're going to feed the world, plant-based has to be a big part of that going forward.
That makes perfect sense.
Schatzzy, you ready for this? I was listening to Carin give an answer to your question. I think I got it. Ready? Here it comes. Just made it up. Go big or go home.
I love that, Jimmy. Did you coin that?
I think I just did.
I love it. Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. No, Carin's saying, look.
Native Foods, new tagline, go big or go home.
Otherwise, you're just a tourist. Boom. You're just a plant-based tourist, I tell you, if you ain't going bigger. All right, listen. I'm thinking we got a little bit of a theme going on here today with myths. So I'm gonna stick with and keep running with it. In addition to Native Foods, Carin, you sit on several boards, including Cura Sushi and Checkers and Rallies, to name just two. I think the general
Jimmy, I think Carin maybe sit on more boards than you.
It might sound more boards with me. But I think there's a general assumption that when it comes to board seats, it's really just LinkedIn bragging rights, and no one brags on LinkedIn more than let's say, I don't want to name names, but not Carin, not myself, but it might be the other person on this call. But LinkedIn bragging rights. Can you share once again, can you once again bust a myth and share more about the work you do for the board seats that you hold?
Yeah, sure. Look, it's an honor, and it's always, I think everybody always try to figure out how to get on your first board, right? But for the way I look at it, I kind of to look at my career, I guess, is to say, and I heard Greg Flynn use this word once. He said, I'm in my learning years, and then I went to my earning years. I always said I did my learning years, my earning years, and now I'm in my give back years. And that's kind of how I look at board service. I think my first thought is I want to leave this industry much better than the way it was when I came into it. I want to make sure that people look at this, the food service industry, as a real career and not a stepping stone to something else. And I love this. I love this industry so much that I love to be on boards and again to try to give back. But if you do it right, I think the myth is it's a lot of work. We've all sat in a lot of board meetings over the years. And the people that come in that are, I think you got like three types of board members. People who just phone it in. They've not paid any attention to the materials that you've gotten. You got the people who want to manage the company, and you got people who do it right, that are really there to thinking that, it's really a role of governance, right? It's a role of oversight. Yep. So in other words, our job is to make sure you've got the right strategy, the right financial budget, and you got the right leader that can execute it. That's our job, right? And I think people sometimes miss that, but it's a lot of work. I go to every board meeting incredibly prepared, and to serve a lot of different roles there. If I wasn't an operator, and first and foremost, restaurant operations are my favorite thing in the whole world. But if I didn't do that, I'd be like Jimmy. I'd be like a finance guy because I love the finance side.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, let's stick with board seats and brands. Checkers and Rally, you sit on the board there, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
And that's a great now. And let's talk about tech and innovation. I understand that when it comes to tech and innovation and Checkers and Rallies, where they pioneered the drive-through technology, that I understand was your idea. You brought that to the board, and they're like. They were going to Carin. This is why you're on the board. You're bringing the ideas. Tell me that's true. And how'd you come up with the idea?
Well, actually, you know what? There might be a little truth to that, and I never really thought about that.
There's a little truth. I knew there was a little truth. You see? So tell us. So you basically changed the entire direction of Checkers and Rally's business model, and you're on the board. I mean, you should be run that whole company.
You see, Carin, you gave him an inch, and look what he did. He took 3 feet.
I know. You guys are like, I guess we all have some kind of.
Carin's going to be asked to leave the board tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. If you guys have not met Frances Allen, she is amazing at what she's doing at Checkers, and that leadership team is so cohesive. It is kind of funny you brought that, but I've known the guys over at Presto for a long time, Raj, and I think Randy had given me a call and just said, "Hey, can you introduce us to Frances?" Okay, it was like a simple introduction. That's my only claim in that whatsoever.
And the drive-through technology.
But it's so cool. I hear a lot of brands talking about just because of the labor market. We all know that there's 500 to 650,000 restaurant workers that haven't returned, and they might not return. So we've got to find technology solutions for that. So. You know what? I honestly, look, we've all been through the drive-thru. I've worked in QSR for many, many years. Actually, it's nice when you go up and somebody answers you. I don't care if it's a computer or, some type of an AI type of a product. The fact that I'm getting a response right away and they actually can understand what I'm saying and translate it and ask good questions, it's a win for all of us. So they're doing some great work with that there.
Yep. That's awesome.
I dig it. And listen, I know from our past conversations and from hearing you speak on the conference circuit, and you brought up even earlier in the podcast, you're really a big believer in the give back. That nurturing and supporting talent is on the top of your list of priorities, and to be a very positive and strong mentor and leader. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I do understand that some, or maybe even a lot of this, stemmed from your own career and early in your career after, and I can't believe it. I could believe it was Schatzy, but you were passed over 7 times for a promotion. 7 times you were passed over. Can you share a little bit of this story and how the experience guided you through the rest of your career?
It is really interesting. I think, it was earlier on in my career, and, I think of that prolific time when quick service restaurants were just growing like crazy. And, I kept putting my name in. Well, no, I didn't put my name in. That was probably part of the problem too. But they just kept going for the next director of operations, the next director of operations. And each time I kept thinking, oh, it's going to be me, right? And so each time I would think, okay, are my restaurants the most profitable, or am I developing enough talent? Okay, I didn't get it this time. Do I have the best food cost? I mean, I tried to think of every possible thing that would get me to the top of the list. And I remember walking in, I was like the 7th time, and my boss was there, and he's like, "Hey, Carin, how you doing? It's going to be a great day." Back then, we had to actually go pick up the paychecks on Saturday and deliver them to all of our restaurants. And so he was like, I've got some great news. And I'm like, hooray, this is it. I am finally going to get this promotion. And then he said, "Hey, Carin, there's someone here that I want you to meet. And once again, we're going to ask you to train him. When he's done, he's going to be your boss." So here me trying to be like
Ray Kroc.
That was McDonald's, I know. But this is Wendy's, yeah.
Oh, I thought that's where we're going. Okay.
I know, but no, I just like trying to, I should have been nice and professional to my new boss, and I throw my hands on my hips and I said, "Are you kidding me, Ron? When's it going to be my turn?" And he said, "Are you kidding me, Carin? There's not a person in this company that thinks you want to move up." And I thought, geez.
Did you tell him you want a new car?
Yeah. But it's kind of one of the things where it was like, you know what? It's not the way the game is played. If people think you can put your head down, get great results, and just come to work every day trying to give it your best, again, it's not how the game is played. You have to be an advocate for yourself.
Yes.
You have to step up and let people know what you want to do. And I think that was a big lesson for me earlier in my career, to have the courage to speak up and say what I wanted to do. And I think that's part of the way that I've been able to move up the ladder.
And what kind of car did they give you?
I want to take that story and I'm going to rebrand it as the John Cusack story. I forget, was it Wade Dobler in Say Anything, Schatzy?
Say Anything, right.
Say Anything. Yep. How did he get Diane Court? How did he get Diane Court to go out with him? Get ready for it. He asked.
That's right.
Yes.
You got to ask.
You gotta
ask. And you know what she said, Jimmy? Yes.
Said yes.
And no one could believe it. Listen, it's a great story. And just sticking on the give back part, because, I think you touched on that. And talk a little bit about this nonprofit that you started, the Gleam Network. Give us a little bit about what that is and what you're doing at that nonprofit, because it's really cool stuff. Can you just touch on that a little bit?
Gosh, yeah. Thanks for even giving me the opportunity to speak about that. I think it's going to be one of the best things that I've been able to do in the industry since I've been around.
All right, that was amazing. Thank you, Carin, for that. It was amazing, Jimmy. It's really unbelievable. Gleam is doing over there, Jimmy. Jimmy, next section.
I am not going to let that one go.
I'm not touching that, Schatz. I'm passing it right back to Carin. Passing it right back.
Exactly. But Gleam is globally. It's got a kind of a mouthful, so it's easier just to say Gleam Network, but it's global leadership and mentorship enhancement. So what we try to do, and if you could think back in your career when you had that one mentor that made a difference. And one of the things that most people say is, why didn't I find that mentor sooner? That I would have gotten maybe that sage advice that could have made a difference for me sooner. So that's what we did with Gleam. Sanjeev Rosden with Coffee, Bean and Leaf. You've got Tressa Bowers from 7-Eleven. Rohit Kapoor, who's recently with Starbucks, Andy Hooper, you guys have met him from Heart House,
sure.
Lo Middlebrand from Reef, and a host of others that have gotten together. And what we do is we pair mentors and mentees. And what we're asking you to do is help that mentee work on one big thing. That's it, one big thing. We ask our mentor to commit to 6 months, meet with that person 1 hour a month. Schatzy, and Jimmy, the changing lives part of it makes you want to cry. People get on there and say, I was working on my one big thing. And, it was interesting. We had one person that, here we've got someone on our board that was at Starbucks. And this was a Starbucks hourly employee who ended up getting in the management program from his mentor from Gleam, Or we had one person that was working on something totally different. In each quarter, we have like a kind of a big Zoom get together where we call it an all hands meeting. And we'll have several of our mentees get on and talk about what they learned. And the one lady got on and she started talking about my one big thing was something totally different. And she said, what I gained was confidence. If anybody would have asked me 3 months ago, 4 months ago, could I even speak to more than one person at a time, it wouldn't have happened. But I gained a whole new level of confidence that's going to take me wherever I want to in my career. That makes it all worthwhile. So, yeah, I'm going to try to get you guys to sign up and be a mentor.
I'd love it. No one's ever asked me to be a mentor.
Well,
I wonder why, Jimmy. You guys both went silent on that. They're like, yeah, we know why, Shat. Yeah. You both went immediately quiet.
The bubble in my head was I thought you were asking a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, I think that does sound very special. And I'll say it right now on the air. We would be honored to get involved in Gleam.
That would be
network
awesome.
And participate. This is an industry we truly love, and giving back to it is incredibly important to us. It's one of the joys I think we get out of working with such young and emerging companies, is to kind of see the world through their eyes and help them navigate. Listen, I want to keep us moving along. I always enjoy this segment. It's the talking back segment. Schatz and I clearly started this podcast because we enjoy talking to people, and by we, I'm not French, I mean me. But we also learned along the way that sometimes our guests have questions for us. So our producer created Talking Back. We offer our guests a chance to ask us a question or two. As we like to say, nothing is off the table. Carin, the microphone is yours.
I know, and I'm going to shamelessly kind of stick with native foods because I have to ask you guys this. As you said, I'm operations and financial driven, and marketing is not my thing. But you guys are such creative guys. If you had to put together some kind of advertising campaign, and I already heard from you, Jimmy, go big or go home, but How would you get non-vegans to come in and try a plant-based meal? What's your angle? What's your message?
Yeah, I will take a stab at this, Jimmy. And what I would do is I would not tell them. I would blatantly lie to everybody and say that it is real chicken and real everything, and see how that goes. Jimmy, what do you think?
I'm going to say that's pretty bad. That's
don't tell them.
That's bad. Yeah, bad idea.
What do you mean? They'll eat one of those chicken sandwiches. They won't know the difference.
I like, actually, Carin, I think you have the points. And Shatsy certainly is more, and with our marketing team out front and throughout the industry. But you hit on the points of the health. You hit on the points of the environment. You hit on the points of the animal rights. We've had the privilege of dining. We own a bunch of restaurants here in New York. We've had some of our friends join us, whether they're vegetarian or they're vegan. And what they try to help us understand is that it's not always one thing. It could be a combination of things. But at the end of the day, it is the quality of the food that they enjoy, and eating and the enjoyment that comes with it. So part of me would be I think you guys, and I love the OG, you guys have an array and a menu and offering that is first and foremost really good, really great food. And then there's enough choices that I think people can navigate whatever it is that's important to them. Whether it's because of the animal issue, because of the health issue, because of the environment issue. But at the end of the day, if they're going to go to a native foods, it's going to be because they get really good food. So to me, I think you lead with the really good food, and everything else isn't it great that this is what's going on, that this is what they're contributing to. But the lead story, and maybe this is what Chet meant to say, is not the lying part.
Well, but lie.
We have really great food. And the fact is, there are other benefits and whatnot that one gets to participate and contribute to that comes along with eating really great food. Really great food.
I agree with
Jimmy.
Just
really great food.
I think to Jimmy's point, since 1994, I think is really something you got to hit home, because you can't be in this business for that many years and not be serving high quality, delicious food. And I think that's what we all know about the restaurant business. Like, Jimmy and I eat a couple restaurants here in New York City that have been around since literally the 60s. And, it's just, if you're around that long, you got to be doing something right. You have to, because people won't come back if the food, you just don't last in this business. I mean, I don't know. I think the number is 85% of restaurants fail in the first year, something to that effect. So you guys are around for that long. You take that combined with not telling anybody that it's, like I said earlier, and I think you got a plan, right? So it's not really lying. It's just you're leaving that part out, and just get them in there. Say, we've been serving great food since 94.
Really great food. Yep.
Yeah, and that's it. All right, listen, that's what we're leaving that with. And then the other thing is, I would talk to Julie, our marketing genius. But let's go to the food service feud. We banged this out a couple of episodes ago, and it got such great response. We brought it in. So we are going to play the food service feud. It's going to be Jimmy versus Carin, and we asked over 100 billion people on LinkedIn. We put up a poll question, and we asked them what the most popular regional coffee brands are. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's play the feud. Go, Carin. Jimmy, jump in. Who's going to go first?
Starbucks. Is that what you're saying?
I'm looking for regional, but you want to go Starbucks? That's not on the board. It's not on the store. That's not on the board, Carin. Jimmy, regional, popular regional.
I don't think Carin beeped in. I don't think she was. I didn't hear
the
beep. So I didn't hear a beep. So by the way, first of all, to kind of support my friend Carin, I'm going to bother you and say Dunkin' Donuts, or just Dunkin', but just to bother you because you said regional. So let me go with Grumpy's.
Grumpy's. I don't even know if that is a brand, but I think Jimmy just made that one up. Well, there's a Grumpy's by my house. I think Jimmy just made up Grumpy's coffee. Hey, anybody out there listening that wants a good coffee brand, you can use the name Grumpy's and give Jimmy 5%. The answer, maybe we shouldn't go regional with this crew.
Okay, just to be clear, the name of the place is Cafe Grumpy, and it is a regional. Look, there is Cafe Grumpy. That is a regional Grumpy. Cafe Grumpy.
Well, no one's ever heard of it, you, Jimmy. Okay. All right, listen, the answers that we were looking for. The number one on the board was PJ's Coffee out of New Orleans. Everyone knows PJ's. Blue Bottle Coffee.
No, Blue
Phil's
Bottle.
Coffee. I know they're out in Cali. They're Sanford.
They're here.
I mean, everyone goes crazy. And then, of course, Bluestone Lane, which originated down in Australia. Our friends down in Australia. And I think Nick Stone, by the way, is going to be here next week on our podcast.
Nice. By the way, you know what that's the sound of? You know what that's the sound of? That's the sound of the food service feud segment dying.
I agree. And this was the last food service feud segment. Carin was on it. Thank you, Carin.
Well, thank you. But Bluestone Lane was my second choice. I just got to talk to Nick on the phone the other day. My friend Amy Hom went to work over there as well. So
I'm going to do this one more time. All right, listen. Buzz in when you want. Most popular regional coffee brand. Go. Carin, what are you going to say?
PJ's.
PJ. Number one answer on the board, Jimmy. Number one answer on the board. There we go. All right. Carin knows regional coffee. Yes. Jimmy, you not so much.
Yes, the food service feud is back.
Oh,
yes,
God,
yes.
That was pathetic.
Yes, fair enough. Listen, you remember at the top of the episode, I asked Carin, I brought out the question, true or false, Carin convinced George Clooney to work a shift at Wendy's. Schatz, care to guess?
I wouldn't come up with this question if she didn't, because it would really be terrible. So I'm going to say, yes, Carin. She did do it. Yes, she did that. Yes.
Oh, gosh.
All right, Carin, you're up.
Okay, well, it wasn't an actual restaurant shift, but the story is true. I was setting up a town hall meeting. I was division vice president for Wendy's at the time, and I was upstairs in a hotel in Minnesota. And I was up there by myself, hanging up the signs, arranging the tables and things. And the hotel manager said, hey, would you mind if we've got one client that just needs a little privacy? We're going to set him up at the bar over here. I'm like, yeah, sure, I don't mind. So guy comes up, really good looking. I have to throw that out there. I give him Wendy's hat. He puts the hat on and moving tables around and hanging banners. I'm like, hey, is this straight? No, Carin, you need to move this. And so for an hour, he sat and helped me like arrange everything. And at the end of it, we're going down the elevator together. My assistant walks in the elevator and she goes, oh my God, that's George Clooney. And I go, who?
You had no idea?
I guess he was on ER back at the time. I'm dating myself once again. I had no idea. So I'm sick about it even today. But wow, was he an awesome movie.
Look at you working with it. And you had no idea. I remember George Clooney. Wait, Jimmy, he was in what was that? He was with Michael, you know what I'm talking about. That show?
Growing Pains?
Growing Pains, I think he was originally on, right? I think he was Mallory's boyfriend or something like that. That's really dating right now. That's really dating ourselves. That's like 1980s. Well, listen, that is a great story. And so he was kind of working at Wendy's.
Yeah, God, what a nice guy, though.
And you got him to where you had no idea who he was.
I did not. I do now.
I think that's why it all worked. I think it all worked that way. Had you seen him at the bar and you say, oh, my God, you're George Clooney, he would have said, manager of the hotel, find me another private space. Find me another private space.
So can you call George Clooney now and ask him to work at Wendy's or at Native Foods?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's going to happen. But it's a good,
he was only making ER money back then. Now he's making, I don't know what kind of money.
Shatz, I swore you were going to say, can you call George Clooney right now and give him Jimmy's wife's phone number? That's what I thought you were going to say.
That was code. All right, listen, let's get into the branded quickfire because Karen's got to get back there and start running some of our creative marketing ads for Native Foods. She's got a lot of work to do. So I'm going to ask you 5 lightning round questions, okay? Don't think too hard. Are you ready?
Yes.
Favorite George Clooney movie?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, nice.
That's a movie, and he was in it. And I think he was nominated for something. I think maybe an Oscar.
Pick that?
Where I'd probably go like Ocean's 11 or something like that. But I don't know, Jimmy. What would you go with?
I'm going to change the name of the segment. And the quick fire is going to no longer be part of it.
It's slow fire.
Slow fire.
Where are you getting dinner from tonight, Carin?
Well, we've got some influencers in town, so actually going to my own restaurant, Native Foods.
Awesome. What's your favorite food city in the world?
Chicago.
Nice.
Where is your favorite place to travel?
Gosh, Europe. I just went for my birthday to Munich for Oktoberfest. Put on the Dirndl. My husband had the Lederhosen, and we drank a lot of beer. Life is good.
Life is good. All right. If you were to challenge Jimmy or I to a timed contest to complete a New York Times crossword puzzle, and we're talking about the Sunday one, the big one, okay? We have better odds of beating.
Wow. God, I always bet on myself, but Shatsy, since you knew that Sunday was the big one, I'm going to have to go with you.
You beat me.
No, you beat me. Look, I've got a streak going.
No. I by the way, I don't know, Jimmy, do you do crossword puzzles? Because I'm the worst at crossword puzzles.
By the way, I'm so impressed that she actually, essentially, she was saying she'd have a better chance of beating me and that you were better at this. And I was a little surprised, but I want to acknowledge. I'm shocked. But I want to acknowledge I'm a fair and good sport. Carin did give the victory on this one to Shatsy. So I think my record.
I don't think she understood the question, though, Jimmy.
Yes. Well,
so I think if I ask it again, she'd be like, oh, no, I would beat you. And that would be me.
I thought I had to pick between the two of you, although, like I said, I probably haven't missed one in 10 years. So
she's saying she beat us both.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at that and dispelling bee.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to accept Karin's answer as is because that makes the score out of 86 Hospitality Hangout episodes. Jimmy 84, Shatz 2. So you just doubled your production here today, Shatsy. Well done. Who would you rather be?
I don't do very well on these.
All right, Carin, listen.
You feel good.
It's all good. We want to thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, on the Hangout, and for all your great insights. We very much appreciate all the hard work you and your team do for this industry that we love so much. If you want to get in touch with Carin directly, please email the podcast team at podcast@brandedstrategic.com. We we'd be happy to make the introduction. And finally, to all our listeners, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. We know there are literally hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and the fact that you choose to hang out with us and continue to grow our subscriber base is something we value and we appreciate, and we thank you for it.
Hey, Jimmy, I'm just going to throw in, first of all, if you want to order native foods or you want to find out on native foods, go to nativefoods.com. Am I correct?
Yes.
Nativefoods.com. Okay. And right now, Carin is so kind. She's running a contest. It's one of her, the branded Native Foods first collaboration. We are doing a marketing contest for the best new advertising campaign. So please, if you have an idea for the advertising campaign for Native Foods, please send that in to podcast@brandstrategic.com. We will then get it to Carin. She will select the winner. The winner will get Native Foods for life. They will eat native foods for them and their entire family for life at any of their locations. So I think that's extremely generous. And all you need to do is come up with a really great marketing campaign for native food. So thank you, Carin. That is super generous. We appreciate you doing that for our listeners.
Yes, I'm sure Carin's board appreciates that. And just to help close the loop on that offer, please, when you have your marketing campaign, please call 1-800-555-5555, and they'll tell you how to submit it so you can claim your potential prize. Again, I thank the listeners. I want to make sure you all know that next week, please come back when we have our friend and partner, Mr. Aaron Novoshan, founder and CEO of Starbird Chicken. Aaron is also a legend in this industry. We enjoy him so much, and we think it'll be a lot of fun. You won't want to miss it. And finally, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss out on any of our exciting guests coming up in the future. So great fun, Carin. This is Jimmy Frischling.
This is Shatsy signing off our last podcast.
Thank you, Carin. Cheers, everybody.
Yep. Cheers, everybody. This is awesome. Thanks, Carin.
All right. Bye-bye now.